He knew me. And even though Roosevelt was this patrician, this aristocrat, he conveyed this sense that he really knew the American people. Obama has time to do that, and he has the capacity, he has the gifts to do it. And we've seen, during the campaign, we saw him connect that way. But as president, he's been too caught up in the sausage factory of Congress, where the stink is just destroying everybody's appetite.
He's not the decider. Bush made horrible decisions, but people thought, oh, that guy is a strong leader. He's a decider, a moron who makes horrible decisions, but he makes them. He makes the decisions.
No, but I think we have to keep in mind, though, that in a democracy, the president is still a fellow citizen. He just happens to rule for 4 or 8 years. And it is the obligation of a citizen of democracy, no matter if it's in the White House, or in the crack house, or in any other house, to do what? Tell the truth. And what is the truth? Big finance and big business captures big government, so that the regulatory agencies of the government are in cozy relation with the very industries to be regulated. So we end up with what? Jungle capitalism.
Okay, so
well, he said that yesterday.
And that's very good.
But tell me,
but that's late. He's very late.
Right.
Then the question
and as a black man, he can't afford to be late.
That's exactly right. But the wonderful thing about black folk is even when we're late, when we bear witness to truth and justice, we can still make a difference. The question is, what does he do when he gets in office? He inherits this from the Bush administration. But he brings in persons who are also from the industry, giving waivers for drilling.
The person he brought in was not from the industry. But she wasn't as competent as she needed to be, but she was not from the industry.
But I'm talking about Salazar.
The Bush people sold the country to the corporations. A few years ago, Bill, I did a story about the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and when Bush came in and they were interviewing candidates to chair the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, he turned over that job of selecting the chairman to a gentleman by the name of Kenny Lay. Remember him from Enron?
Sure.
He actually had Enron choosing the regulator. So that's what Obama inherited.
But that's not just what he inherited. Where is the radical break? Where's the discontinuity from the Bush administration to the Obama administration?
I'm making
that.
Right. I just called him Bush. Because at his press conference, he said, I'm not a drill baby drill guy. But 6 weeks ago, he was.
2 months ago, he said
he said he was.
The waivers that Salazar gave to the oil industry.
To me, the only difference between that and Dick Cheney is that he's sad about it. Yes, he's sad, and they weren't sad. He's sad. How about a president who stands up for our side and says, one, I came in here to make changes.
That's right.
And one of them is oil companies should be regulated. How about a president for once ever saying the environmentalists were right? They were right. Philip Cousteau testified before Congress, and he said a year ago, he said we shouldn't be doing this.
FDR said in 1936 in Madison Square Garden, October 31, government as organized money is as dangerous as government as organized mob. And he said, they hate me, I love it. Take me on. I want to be hated by these folks.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Well,
that's the kind of backbone Barack Obama needs.
No, but Obama wants to get stuff done, not just deck somebody.
We're not decking them, brother. It's not a matter of decking.
A lot of people want to see.
How can you get something done if you don't
ordinary
deck
people
somebody?
are getting decked every day.
He's gotten a lot done without decking people.
Ordinary people are getting decked every day.
You know, we had the
losing
first
jobs.
Bill, we had the first clean energy bill ever. The stimulus had billions and billions of dollars for the very first time.
Where is the political capital behind that? We see all the political capital behind healthcare. We saw the political capital behind financial reform. But, you know, it seems like with immigration, with a lot of these items that fall further and further down the list, there's not the same political impetus behind them.
But part of the problem is, if when Obama won, the reason why we worked so hard for him, we didn't want a garden variety politician. We wanted a statesperson with political savvy but taking a stand, not just cutting deals. If it's all about Machiavellian calculation, if it's all about political calculation, then in fact public interest and common good would sit at the center. You agree?
Right,
Public
Brother
interest at the center of
Cornel.
democracy, right?
Yeah, but
how do you
Cornel,
give it substance?
Cornel,
But-
politics is the art of the possible. It
Right.
always has been. It always will be.
That's not
let's
true.
Just
That's
take,
not
let's-
true.
and
That's
Cornel-
not true. That's not true. It's
Cornel
the art
brought
of
up
the possible, but also the power of the not yet that pierces
Well,
through.
that's true.
When is what is possible. That's
true.
what vision is.
Yeah.
That's what vision is. That's what Lincoln had. That's what FDR had. We're waiting to hear what Brother Barack
Just to take
Obama
his
had.
side for a second. You know why it's hard to get anything done? Because. Well, let me ask you this, Professor, if I may
Yes,
call you
absolutely.
Professor, and of course I may, you are. The Brandeis Institute on Assets and Social Policy, I just read this recently, did a study, listen to this, the net worth, which is, you know, somebody's cash, their home, their car, everything they have minus their debt, of white families from 1984 to 2007 skyrocketed. Black families, even, to the point where the gap between them quadrupled. Now, I thought we were making racial progress in this country, electing the first black president. But who really cares about the first black president if this stat is true, and I guess it is?
No, but I think
that's astounding.
that is astounding. I think it shows we have made progress in terms of breaking certain glass ceilings at the top,
Right.
but so many stuck at the bottom. We got a racial caste system of a new Jim Crow system, prison industrial complex. Michelle Alexander and others talk about it, and that's very real. That's 2.3 million, vast majority black and brown in the prison industrial complex.
Right.
Then at the same time, we got working poor and stable working in the past, but no longer stable, having tremendous difficulty given the wealth inequality. So we got to be able to keep two ideas in our minds at the same time. Breakthroughs for the black upper class, breakthroughs for the black upper middle class, but hell for those caught within the black poor, hell for those caught within the hood.
Right.
And so we can't allow Obama's charisma and brilliance to hide and conceal the suffering of not just black poor, but poor people across the board.
But
poor people across the board.
This is where education comes in. Education has always been the key. If you graduate from college, your lifetime earnings are $1 million more than if you don't. We must have a new generation
is that an
of
argument
highly...
for affirmative action?
It's an argument for
'Cause
programs that stick with kids so they finish college, because not only is the high school dropout rate a huge problem, but the college
So it's not an
dropout
argument for
rate.
affirmative action.
It's of course.
Are you running for
affirmative
something?
action-
What are you?
No, affirmative action's fine, Bill. I have
You're
no-
a writer. What do you give a
I have no
fuck?
problem.
Come on, answer the question.
I have no problem with affirmative
There's
action.
also an
Okay.
issue of good intentions oftentimes making this problem worse. You know, in the 2000s, former President Bush of my party, said, we're going to make it a major goal to increase home ownership in this country, and particularly zeroed in on home ownership among low-income African Americans as the number one way to build wealth, because that's how everyone was building wealth. As a result, we got political pressure on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to give out these subprime mortgages, and you had the whole system collapse, and everyone's kind of worse off than they
But
were
that's
before.
not where the system
Yeah,
collapsed.
that's
part
a
of
big
it.
myth.
It is part of it.
It's part of it.
No, I think, but I think
But the Republicans
but
are saying that the banks
Right.
didn't do anything wrong. It
Right.
was just poor folks who
Yeah,
borrowed,
that's right.
bought houses they couldn't afford, and that's a
Yeah,
bullshit.
that's
There was a
not true.
policy that was created
But
to
Bill-
do that.
Oh, well.
But what you're talking about, Bill, is it
Doesn't sound like you're running for anything now.
It calls for massive job creation, massive job skills being available to working people and poor people. That's really what we're talking about. And I tell you, the Achilles heel of the Obama administration, and you make this point in your wonderful text, unemployment, underemployment, and Afghanistan.
Right.
If he can't deal with both of those,
Okay.
he's going to miss out and be a Clinton rather than a Lincoln.
Let me bring this up quickly.
And Ronald Reagan, about 20 years ago, his political director, Ed Rollins, actually bragged in the newspaper that they were trying to get Senator Hayakawa from California to not run for re-election by offering him a federal job. It's just, to politicize, to criminalize politics is insane.
I don't agree with criminalizing
I think-
politics, but Obama has
yeah,
had held
yeah.
himself up to a higher standard, I think, during his
And I think my dear right-wing brother's right here, though, that we have to have a moral consistency here. Obama came in saying he wanted transparency. This is a secret deal. Now, we know this is the brainchild of Brother Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel's been obsessed with cutting deals rather than taking moral stands for a long time. It's part of the Chicago political culture.
Where we get something done. The city that works.
It's not
right?
just getting Chicago. There's a lot of gangster proclivities in the history of Chicago politics.
What about a compromise where we impeach Clinton? I mean, that's what they wanted to do in the first place.